Anyway, that was an intro. SJ will probably cut this down.
No, yeah, we're cutting that out.
SJ's
I
cutting
already
this
have
down.
like an intro thought up because it's 2024 and the last time we recorded
was about 6 months ago.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
We got busy.
We're just so everyone remembers, we're still in college.
Yeah. So we gotta time capsule it because we're gonna be talking extensively about time loops. So let's time capsule it. It's 2024.
It's 2024.
There's a war going on. Free Palestine.
Free Palestine.
And Gab is in her last year.
I am in my last year technically,
Yes,
which
you're
is terrifying. I have
Yeah.
about 3 sems left to go. And then I'm a graduate of
got
college.
this, bestie.
Jesus
I'm cheering
Christ.
for you. I got like
Thank
2
you.
more years.
Oh, well, you stopped, and now you're coming back, so that makes
Yeah.
sense.
So I've got 2 more years. I'm like in the middle of my second
Second year.
trimester. I sound like I'm pregnant, but it's yeah.
It is January the 15th? Is it 15? Today?
Yes, it's the 15th.
It is. Wow, I know time.
Listen, the only thing I know is that it's a Monday today because
It
I
is a
had
Monday,
to I had
yes.
to wake Cleo up and make breakfast for her.
I was a Monday. I woke up at 7 because I had an 8 a.m. class.
Oh goodness. Last time we were recording, we swore we were going to do Mob Psycho for my episode.
Yes,
And then a Nida Manzoor episode for yours.
yes.
Neither of which we have done.
We
So-
the problem of SJ's episode is SJ chooses very long form content.
I am a long-form
this is-
content girly.
This is not a trend that will break today.
No, absolutely the fuck no. It's not even intentional because it's like, it's a static
I know.
property, technically.
I just think it's really funny that every time you have your episodes,
It's like
it's
the longest
thing
Yeah.
ever.
At least we're not doing episodes on like shit like Homestuck, you know?
Well, you never know.
No, absolutely not.
A dual cursed episode, you do Homestuck, I do Supernatural.
Hell no. I barely remember anything about Homestuck.
That's
Even
fair.
though I voiced the character for a Homestuck thing.
So, what are we talking about today, SJ?
Today, we're talking about a 500 chapter Korean web novel. This is
Long
a bare
form,
estimate.
As we
Yeah.
said, long form.
It's not even done, technically. I just can't access the side stories that come after the epilogue. So whatever happens past the epilogue, I don't
You have
fucking
no
know.
idea.
I have no
Did
idea.
you finish it? Are you done?
I done,
You're
bro.
done. Dude, I have it on my Kindle. So I'm
I
looking at
finished
that
it-
while you explain.
I finished it mid-December.
Jesus Christ.
For reference, I started in October, so it took like a while. But only because I only read like in the middle of the night before bed.
I like how when I open the thing it says 3 Ways to Survive in a Ruined World was a feature-length fantasy novel with 3,149 chapters.
Yeah, in novel is 3,000 chapters.
Jesus
Our
Christ.
world novel is like just
Yeah.
500. So here's your pitch
Yes.
for ORV. Because I'm gonna talk about it like I'm recommending it to book talkers just for ease of access.
Yeah, we're getting back into the swing of this after 6 months, guys. Bear with us.
No, because like explaining ORV without spoiling it makes it the most boring thing ever. So I have to explain it in ways that will interest like people with 5-second attention span.
Okay, go.
Okay, so Orpheus and Eurydice.
Ah!
That's the first bullet. But it's between 3 people.
No, I'm not gonna make the joke. I'm
No,
holding
shut
myself back.
And the idea is it's like a ship between the creator, their muse, and the muse's blorbo.
It's like
His
the
little
creator,
meow.
the muse, and the muse's inspiration, blorbo.
His little meow
His
meow.
little meow meow. So it's essentially, it's got layers, like an onion.
There's an apocalypse, and it's a long-running metaphor for the trauma of living.
Again, SJ, you say these things that I have to restrain myself from making the very obvious comparison.
Be quiet. There are themes of selfishness and self-sacrifice.
Woo!
Yes. Time loops, of course, because I did bring it up. And there's a very just a very long and enduring meta commentary about content creation and content consumption.
Yeah, baby.
So as a multimedia student, this
This
is
is
just
like
fitting for me.
no, as a multimedia student, as someone who enjoys time loops, as someone who enjoys analysis about content creation. This is like right up your alley. This
yeah,
is like
this is catnip for me.
Exactly.
I did tell Alina that this is
Exactly.
like the perfect cheese in the box.
yeah, we put ORB in a box and we snagged an SJ.
This is how you fish for me. But
SJ also, by the way, just finished Oxenfree 2.
yeah, Lost Signals was wild. I'm still kind of processing it. I don't know if I liked it or not. But
Ooh. Anyway, back to ORB.
so that's the pitch. Like without any summaries.
By the way, how do you say omniscient? Is it omniscient?
Omniscient.
Okay, see, yeah, there's two different ways of saying it.
The omniscient is the very British way. of
Oh,
saying
alright, alright.
That is a Britishism. I'll say that.
Omniscient reader viewpoint.
I have a summary,
Yes.
and I made it for myself. Mostly.
Because there's 500 chapters.
No, because it's like,
How are you gonna sum it up, SJ? How are
yeah,
you gonna
like
sum it up for us?
if you read synopses for this, it's not gonna click for you. Hold on,
Fair.
let me see if I can pull up the webtoons. There's something going on with the fandom right now. This is a 500 chapter web novel that was released in like 2018, or like
2018,
it finished
yeah.
in 2018.
No,
I
it
don't remember.
was like, according here, 2018 in January, finished February 2020 for the Korean one, and then the web novel started
Yeah, it's
in
still
December and then finished in March of 2020.
So you have Omniscient Reader's Viewpoint, the web novel in Munpia, like the original one. They posted it on Munpia. The Never one is edited for the international audience because this is a very Korean web novel. There is a subplot that is very focused on like historical figures, and there was a very explicitly anti-Japanese subplot.
Oh dear.
Not because they were being like xenophobic,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
because it's like historical. You know, World War II Japan was not very nice to Koreans. So in the Naver version of the novel, the ebook one that has
Yes.
illustrations, they erased that.
Oh.
Yeah, they removed it, and then they
Why?
added some other scenes
Because
for the international audience.
I see.
Yeah,
Alright.
so they wanted it to be more accessible to Japanese people.
I see. All right.
Weird, right? The copy I gave to Gab, which is definitely not legal, was the original one. It's a translation of the original one. So there's still some anti-Japanese stuff in there. And I bring that up because that is only true of what is currently more of Omniscient Reader. Omniscient Reader is the webtoon that is still ongoing. They have
Ah, I
186 chapters out.
I see. Oh, so is it on Webtoon or what is it?
It's on webtoon,
I see. Okay.
which they have turned into like physical copies.
Can you buy the physical copy?
I do not want to buy the physical copies. I'm waiting for the official translation
I
of the
see.
novels.
I see. So you're waiting. So the author is going to translate it, or someone else is going to translate, but it's licensed by the author.
The authors, plural, because I'm pretty sure it's like a husband and wife
Aw.
situation.
That's kind of sweet.
Right. They're working in tandem with the main artist in studio that's working on the webtoon. So
Oh,
whatever
I
is in the
see.
webtoon and is getting translated is already author approved.
I see. I see. All right.
Then there's gonna be the movie or the K-drama that's
There's
about to
gonna
come
be a
out.
K-drama?
Yeah, it's a live action. Something is going on. Lee Min-ho is gonna be like Yoo Jung-hyuk. It's scary.
What? Lee Min-ho?
Yeah. Yes, Lee Min-ho.
Wow,
And
I
then-
haven't heard that name in so long. That's like my grandma watching
Yeah.
K-drama. I haven't heard that name in a while.
People are very on his ass about like not looking the part for Yoo Jung-hyuk because he's like Yoo Jung-hyuk is like 28.
Oh,
to be
I
fair.
see. Oh,
He's a bit too old for 28-year-old.
that's fair.
And then very recently, before we started recording, like maybe like 3 or 4 days ago, there was the confirmation that they are working on the anime.
Oh, I did
don't
see
know
that.
what
You
the
did tweet about that. Yeah.
I don't know what the term is in Korean, but there's gonna be an animated show. Okay, so summaries.
Summaries.
This is the synopsis that is on the webtoon. Dokja was an average office worker whose sole interest was reading his favorite web novel, 3 Ways to Survive the Apocalypse, Tusa. But when the novel suddenly becomes reality, he is the only person who knows how the world will end. Armed with this realization, Dokja uses his understanding to change the course of the story and the world as he knows it on the official website.
I like how the synopsis makes me go, oh, buddy. I like how this starts like The Matrix, where he's an average office worker.
I knew you were going to Before we recorded, I was talking to Alina about how you have to take a shot every time you hear Gab bring up The Matrix during the recording. Because there's gonna be a lot of comparisons to
I
The
know,
Matrix.
and technically now that I'm in VR, this is even more trippy.
Okay, but that's the official synopsis on the webtoon.
What is your synopsis?
My synopsis, so Earth's free trial has expired.
They forgot to renew.
Yeah. The vast universe is a gigantic live stream where all the viewers are people or creatures of myth, right?
Nice.
Yeah. So they're called constellations. And the ultimate goal is to reach the ending for everyone, including the people who are in the live stream.
Oh dear.
That sounds like an obvious thing because this is a novel, like reach the ending, you know?
Yeah.
But literally no one has ever reached the conclusion.
Oh, I see.
In the star stream, right? So, except this is all fictional on Dokja's side, right? So Kim Dokja, a contract worker doing quality assurance work for a video game company, which fired him,
oh no!
has read this entire story before, and he is the only person
who has read the entire story.
Yes, who has read the ending. So,
so just like SJ, stubborn jerk. No, I'm joking.
Hey.
I'm joking.
We called the dynamic creator muse blorbo because,
Help.
because since this is fictional for him, there are characters, and then there are real-life people who got dragged into the novel world.
Oh no.
Right? So, there is the main character of the novel, Yoo Jung-hyuk.
Yoo Jung-hyuk.
The novel he read.
The blorbo. The blorbo.
Yes. There are a limited number of people who weren't in the novel who got dragged into the apocalypse.
Oh.
Dokja is one of them.
Oh,
and since this is like a time loop story, okay, we have to get into
time loops.
We gotta get into this. I'm gonna try to not spoil anything, but this is 500 chapters, so Tusa is a 3,000 chapter web novel about Yoo Jung-hyuk.
Yes.
Who is a regressor. This is a word that they use in computer science. Very
what
cute.
What does it mean?
Very cute that they're using it for web novels. But regressors basically have their own Groundhog Day.
I see.
Yeah.
All right.
So when he dies, it restarts.
Oh, just like, can I say it? Can I say it?
Just go ahead.
There is an episode of Supernatural where every time Dean dies, the day starts over. And then it basically drives Sam insane that he almost kills his adopted father figure, but it's okay because none of it is real. Anyway, please go on.
Everything here is real, and the thing with Yoo Jung-hyuk's regressions is that when he dies, the apocalypse starts over again.
Jesus Christ!
So, say he gets 3 years into the apocalypse and then dies. Or chooses to die.
Oh no.
So he regresses back to the start of the novel, which is the subway. Always starts in the subway.
It's like he's living in a roguelite.
Yeah. Basically. Which is where, the whole, dynamic between him and Dokja comes from. In the novel, Dokja likes to call him a sunfish bastard.
Help!
So, a sunfish...
Sorry, I just looked it up because I was looking at the wiki.
Yeah.
And... I go, aliases, Kim Dokja, sunfish bastard. Alright.
Yeah. So a sunfish, for the uninitiated, is actually an online gaming term that people in Korea use for people who like to restart their games at the minor inconvenience. This is because sunfish are actually very durable creatures. But they have, the mental... mental stability of it's a very terrible thing. But yeah, at the first sign of stress, it will die. So he calls him a sunfish bastard. Cute, right?
So what I'm gathering is sunfish could not be in an animation course.
No. Here's the analog for you. Say you're playing Hades,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And you're like, oh, I don't like this boon. So
you
jump,
just
you
jump
jump
into
directly
lava.
jump directly into lava. That's it, and then you restart.
Oh my god.
Right. That's the whole thing with Yu Jung-hyuk. It's like if he doesn't like this run, he will die.
Sir.
So like I think there's a part of it where, for some reason, a character that doesn't appear until later on in the novel just suddenly appears.
Oh.
And even Dokja is just like, what the fuck is he doing? What the fuck
This isn't how the story goes.
Why are they here? And Yu Jung-hyuk is just like, okay, things are going terribly. And then he like immediately like retreats in his brain space. Except that because Dokja is like the reader of this novel, the only reader of this novel, he has special skills. Like if he understands a character enough, he hears their thoughts.
Oh.
Yeah. That's the omniscient reader skill. that's why it's called that.
I see. All
yeah.
right, I get it. All right.
It's a whole metaphor, right? Because he's the reader. He can hear people's thoughts because he can read it. And he likes to call whatever happens to Yu Jung-hyuk when he starts contemplating killing himself. He calls it regression depression, which is cute. So
you know what? I am afraid that by that time we finish this, you're gonna make me want to read the 500 chapter. You know what? This might be the best time for me to do it since I don't have my thesis subject this term.
Goodness.
Anyway, keep going.
But
Regression
yeah.
depression.
He's got regression depression.
That should be the title of this episode. Regression depression.
Kim Dokja had to like pull him out of it since he's the only guy who knows about regressing.
Oh.
Yeah.
They didn't get that far.
Yeah. Yu Jung-hyuk is this is why if you look into the tags, you will see sometimes comparisons to Homura Akame from Madoka Magica.
Oh my god.
It kills me.
I see. This
Because
is why you went and watched Madoka.
No, we watched Madoka because Tess wanted to see the animation. So
I know, but
it was pretty
it's
good.
very funny that it also connects back to that.
Yeah, I know. But like for people who watch Madoka, you know what happens. But like in every loop, and she calls them loops, she is the only person who is aware unless she tells people, right? This is pretty much similar to whatever goes on with Yu Jung-hyuk.
Jesus Christ.
Tusa and ORV have the same beginning, sort
Yes.
of, in which the novel starts in Yu Jung-hyuk's third regression. But since this is like on a Korean counting system, this is his fourth regression.
I see.
So he has lived through the apocalypse 4 times.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, and he starts Tusa and ORV by waking up in the subway and killing everyone inside.
Oh, nice. That's a normal response.
Yeah,
to
because
waking
if
up
you've lived
in
through the apocalypse four times,
yeah.
you would kind of just like think of people as like side characters.
That's true, because if it's gonna happen again, why not fucking go apeshit?
You know, the apocalypse is terrible. This is a mercy.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. Yeah, right?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
To be fair, I understand him.
Yeah. That's just 2 people of the trifecta. There's Han Soo-young, who I have not talked about. Han Soo-young is not a character from Tusa. She comes from real life, which is why Kim Nok-ja gets blindsided. And this is sort of spoilers for like an early arc called the Prophets, I guess, because that's what they call themselves in the apocalypse now. 100 chapters into Tusa, there were still people reading the novel. Han Soo-young was one of them.
Oh.
Not on purpose, but she was on them because Kim Dok-ja, the actual asshole that he is online,
Did he
went and read Han Soo-young's web novel, I think it was like SSS class regressor or something. I don't fucking remember. But he read her web novel and it was just like, this is just plagiarized. I'm pretty sure this is just Tusa, but you just like filed the serial numbers off. And he said that in her comment section. And she was just like, you motherfucker.
Help! Not
So she
Kim
stalked
Dokja
him.
Bullying. Not the cyberbullying. Help!
Yeah. He's terrible. But like, she got so pissed about it, she stalked his comments and
Oh my
like
God.
hate read Tusa around like 100 chapters in, and then she stopped. So
Why did she stop?
because he wasn't responding.
Oh my god!
They got a flame war going on, but
Oh
they,
my
they
god.
so they're calling themselves prophets because they were like the only other people who read through the Apocalypse TM. He can see their skill trees, and the attribute is just like nth person to get off, to leave or something. So the nth person to stop reading the novel.
Oh my god.
And since Dokja is the only guy who has ever read through all 3,000 chapters.
Every time you say that, I'm just like, buddy.
Listen, I'll get into that later because there's a lot. Eventually they meet each other, and but like within 5 minutes, Kim Dokja kind of just like figures that, oh, you're the plagiarist.
Oh my, does he say that?
Yes, he does.
Oh my god.
And she's just like, I am not a fucking plagiarist. And since they have like abilities and
He
stuff,
really has the brain worms.
yeah, he's the worst kind of guy ever. Eventually they kind of like become friends. Not
Eventually.
But, yeah, eventually. It's a long eventuality, but it happens at some point. Like, to the point that she kind of becomes his right-hand man kind of thing.
Slay.
Yeah.
So is it... They're friends. They're friends, right?
Sort of.
Frenemies?
But also, how do you explain this? Without spoiling. Do you want me to spoil
You
something?
can.
Okay.
If he's a sunfish, I am a goldfish. I will... Any major spoiler that isn't like the main plot, my brain will probably forget with all the stress of school.
So, since this is 500 chapters, it's how do you call it? It's like, it's partitioned out per story progress, like beginning, inciting incident, climax, ending, and then the epilogue, right? Mm-hmm. So, around the epilogue, you will realize that Kim Dokja's plans for Tusa, or his version of Tusa, is basically his fan fiction.
Okay. And he's
his
calling
plans for Tusa,
and he's calling her out for being a plagiarist.
Listen, it's transformative. It's so bad. But yeah, by the epilogue of the novel, you will realize that as a guy who is basically writing his own fan fiction, his version of the ending to Tusa does not involve him, the reader, as a character. As a writer, and the writer actually, Han Seo does not like that. So when Kim Dokja kills himself for the final time,
Help!
she drags every single person who made it to the epilogue and makes them regress one more fucking time.
Oh my god.
Just to make sure that he lives. And this is through a series of like Orpheus and Eurydice moments.
Ah!
Yeah, this is her Orpheus moment where she is trying to drag him out of fucking hell.
Yeah.
So, I don't know what you call someone like that. Like, are they friends? I don't fucking know. Man.
I'd call them, if I have to pull your ass out of the fire, fucking do it.
Okay, so here's a thought experiment for funsies, right?
Yes.
Because this is very much deep meta commentary about content creation and consumption. For your favorite blorbos,
Yes.
do you want a character to like improve, or do you want them do you want nothing but happiness for them?
I want them to improve. Let's talk. I'll talk about superhero because it's easier to think about that because I've read a lot of fic for them.
Yeah.
So whenever they're just happy, I get really bored. No, because
Yeah.
there's because especially with my favorite characters, they're kind of fucked up.
Yeah.
They're kind of like they kind of need some
They got
therapy.
flaws.
They got flaws. I prefer the fics that are kind of like character studies where they learn and they grow.
Mm-hmm.
Like some of my favorite fics for Destiel are the ones where Dean is learning how to be a better parent, even though he has this fear that he's gonna be exactly like his abusive dad. So I prefer that over the ones where Cass and Dean meet in a coffee shop and they're just happy forever.
Yeah.
Whenever there's no angst, I'm like, ooh, for a supernatural fanfiction,
Yeah.
there's no angst.
This is technically connected to my point here.
Yes, yes.
The thing with ORV is that they have this like, and this is something that like Tumblrinas will hate.
Oh dear.
But they have this conversation about how, like, if your fucking blorbo was a person, would they appreciate you wanting them to go through the hardships?
I see. For
Of
the sake
plot.
the sake of you enjoying.
Yeah, for
the-
your entertainment, right?
I
Yeah.
see.
So eventually, it is revealed to Yoo Jung-hyuk that he's just like a character in a novel.
Oh no.
And he has to confront Dokja about it. Eventually, they have a conversation, and it is full of blood, and there is stabbing involved. And Han
Nice.
Soo-young dies, question mark. But she's the one who forces them to talk to each other, just to make the character talk to the reader. You know?
Alam mo yung, there's a Filipino thing na, ito sige, kutsilyo, magsaksakan kayo.
Exactly. But
That's what I'm picturing.
like, how do you reconcile with being closest to the person who really liked watching you struggle?
Oh.
You know?
Ooh.
For like 3,000 chapters, around
Jesus
like
Christ.
1,864 regressions.
Yeah, that'll fuck you.
Yeah. Like, how would you like being, like, that is the person closest to you, who understands you the most.
And you'll find out they only understand you because they enjoy.
Yeah.
Oh.
There's brief flashes in the novel where they bring up Kim Dokja's comments while these arcs were happening, and he's just like, Jung-hyuki is suffering right now, and then like within the next few comments he just goes, when is he going to regress again? Like, what the fuck? What the fuck is wrong with you? But yeah,
That's like, oh yeah, the doctor regenerated. When is he gonna regenerate again?
it's like
Hell.
it's the exact feeling I get when fans say that when they watch Mob Psycho they really
no.
cheer for him when he goes on a
no.
mental break, and I'm like, he's
Why?
why are you so mean to him?
You're so mean to him. You holding Mob in your hands. Why are you so mean to him?
He's 15. Leave him alone.
It's the same thing with My Hero Academia, isn't it?
Exactly.
The same.
Fans like to see what they like. That is true.
Oh my god.
And this is comparative to the whole concept of the star stream, which
Yes.
is like the universe being a gigantic live stream for
That's also kind of fucked up.
yeah. The constellations, the main ones you get are the angel Uriel. She's a Fujo in this one.
Oh my god.
The angel Uriel. Some guy named Secretive Plotter that I will not
Oh.
talk about. And then there's some extra edgy guy
Help.
named Abyssal Black Flame Dragon.
Abyssal
Black
Flame Dragon.
Dragon.
Okay, it's giving Ebony.
Exactly. And
To
then
my
there's Sun Wukong from Journey to the West.
I see. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, those are like the 5 major constellations you meet. There's also Persephone and Hades. Yeah, they're here. Literally every creature from myth is a constellation, and there's like an enduring conversation about consumption. There is an
Yes,
actual
yes.
literal
Because
scene in here.
it's literally a live stream for
Yeah.
them.
There's an actual scene in here where Persephone kind of like invites Dokja for like dinner. And the food they're eating is stories. But like
cool.
stories are kind of like HP in this universe.
I see.
So the steak they're eating is or was someone alive
Oh,
Yeah.
the cannibalism
This is someone's
metaphor.
Yeah, this is someone's story and you're just consuming it for your own, for your enjoyment or your survival.
Ooh,
There's
yeah,
a whole thing about it.
the Tumblerinos will not like that.
Yeah.
But I've always had that fear late at night where I'll randomly sit up and I'm like, what if my life was just a TV show? Or like, what if I was just a fucking sim?
Yeah.
I have
the horrors
fear.
you're enduring is just
I have that fear. I'm like, what if this is just funny to people? What if in another universe there's a laugh track?
Yeah. There's
happening?
there's actually like even more layers to this conversation because Dokja's real life is fucked up. There's a thing in his childhood. Now I'll spoil this now for you, just for your
My little
for
ears.
your sake, because this is where it steps into.
Oh
But-
dear.
When he was a kid, he and his mom lived with a very abusive father. Eventually, this is the story. She killed him.
Ooh.
And she gets arrested for it. You can imagine as a teen, like, getting, going to school and people realizing that your mom murdered your dad.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it would be fine if, you just transfer schools and, like, people wouldn't know that it's you. And then eventually, his mom published a novel.
Oh dear.
It was a memoir of why she did it. The official story is there to protect him, and
Okay.
she published the memoir to make sure that that's on the forefront of everyone's mind.
Oh shit.
Except that it has the very real consequence of people now recognizing him in public,
Oh, okay.
and
Yeah. Double-edged sword.
and people knowing his story through a novel, and people assuming that they know him, right? So there's layers to the consumption thing.
I see.
Yeah.
And now he's oh, buddy.
There's so much going on. So that's on the consumption side, because this is like part of the reader's story. On the creation side, now I have to ask you, since you almost went into creative writing, right?
Yes, I did.
And you technically are still making comics.
Yeah.
Eventually you'll publish your own comics and I will buy all of them. But so in a story, if you're creating one, are you a god in this universe, or are you like helpless throughout the process?
Whenever I make stories, I'm not a god. I'm definitely a lot more like helpless. I set out with an initial idea, but then sometimes I'll go back to it after a day. I'm like, oh, I don't like that, and also this character doesn't feel like this is what they would do. When I write, I kind of listen to my characters a bit, which sounds odd, but
Right.
but I'm just like, oh, if I think about this character and who they are as a person, I don't think this is something that they would respond to in this way, rather than being like, hey, you are my Sims, you will do everything I say. It's just strange for people who probably don't write, but like, yeah.
No, it's understandable. And like as someone who also writes, I do understand the idea of characters not cooperating.
We have had many a Discord conversation about it.
I get so fucking frustrated because like I'm trying to get down the beats of what I wanted to accomplish, but unless I'm writing a story where I plotted out where the character is supposed to be progressing towards, like emotionally, it will veer away from what I wanted to do. So if I write out like an external plot, I want character to get from point A to point B, he will go to point C instead. It's frustrating, but it makes the story that much better because at least
it makes it feel more
personal.
real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have to spoil this now. I'm so frustrated. But Han Soo-young wrote Tusa. She wrote it for 13 years
Oh my
to
god.
keep Kim Dokja alive.
Oh.
It was published December when he was like 15, and this is the thing that they established in the novel. And this is done through a very confusing time loop, wherein another version of Han Soo-young wanted to meet the god of the apocalypse, the oldest dream, the guy who is making all of these scenarios happen, all of the horrors of the plot.
Kind of like the nightmarish situations.
So the guy who was in charge of her world line, not timeline, world line, brought her to 15 years ago, before the apocalypse started, she spawned into her 13-year-old body.
Oh dear.
And eventually she met Kim Dok-ja in a hospital.
Oh.
This was like a few months after his mom's memoir came out, and he jumped off a building.
Oh.
Yeah,
I see.
so she met him. She met him in a hospital. He was like in the emergency room, and she was wondering like, isn't this like supposed to be when he starts reading the novel? But like the novel doesn't exist.
Oh.
For context, this Han Soo-young comes from a world line where Kim Dok-ja isn't person.
Ah, so he never read the novel.
Yeah, he never existed in this version. So when she like goes back 15 years into the past, she is very much confused. Like, he's supposed to have read the novel by this point, but it doesn't exist. She starts writing Tusa.
I see.
And then every day for 18 years, she keeps writing it until the night of the apocalypse. And then she dies.
Oh, shit.
Well, that version of her, at least.
Okay,
that world line of her. That version of her just forgets what the fuck just happened.
Ah, it's a timey-wimey thing.
Yeah, it just loops back.
But because she existed in a time where Dok-ja never read
Yeah.
the novel, but by writing the novel, she has caused that timeline to cease to exist because she wrote. I see. All right.
Yeah. So, by the epilogue, she remembers this.
Oh.
Remember when I said she dragged everyone
Yeah.
to another regression? They don't succeed in bringing him back.
Oh.
Yeah, that's why there's a continuation. But they go back to their world line by the end of that one when they're very much unsuccessful, and they come back and they continue on with the epilogue that Dok-ja wanted for them. And she becomes like a professor in creative writing. The whole shebang. Everyone gets their jobs. One character turns into like a kind of like a superhero. He goes off into America, becomes Captain Korea. But
Help! Is that his actual name?
No.
Okay.
People just like calling him that because he's in the military.
Ah, I see.
Another character starts like a security firm. Two characters start like a hospital together. Yoo Jung-hyuk tries to go back to pro gaming because he used to be like an esports guy.
Before the apocalypse.
Yeah, and then he stops, and then he disappears.
Oh.
Not disintegrating disappears.
No,
he just
yeah.
like goes off grid.
Yeah.
And people don't know why. And then just as Han Soo-young is starting to contemplate the idea of starting a memoir, Yoo Jung-hyuk appears again.
Oh.
In a museum.
Oh.
In which he is breaking everything.
Oh, okay.
He becomes. I like how when they reveal this, it was on the news. Yoo Jung-hyuk, 33 years old, unemployed.
Man goes apeshit at a museum.
Han Soo-young in the gang. They're called the Kim Dok-ja's company.
Hell.
He went with the default name. He did not think up of a name, but it's.
Literally,
okay.
The blorbo has become the blorby.
See, the funny thing about him is, online he uses his government name.
Oh my
so
God.
he's just like notoriously bad at naming stuff.
Oh dear. Oh, I see.
But yeah, the company goes to the museum, tries to stop Yoo Jung-hyuk because this is like the Justice League trying to stop Superman without Batman, right?
Yes.
Batman is dead.
Oh.
Batman. That's the metaphor we're going here. Dong-jok is just super bad with extra steps, but they try to stop him from going apeshit inside the museum where he was trying to reactivate like the only way out of the world line for some reason. He's just like, I'm trying to fucking save him. And they're like, he's gone, he's dead. And he's just like, he's not dead. He's only dead because you guys are giving up on him. Blah, blah, blah.
Oh no.
Yeah.
No.
Talking to Han Soo-young, who wrote a novel for 13 years to keep this man alive. She's just like, fucking excuse me? So they fight it out. When I said when he realized that he was just like a character from the novel and there was stabbing involved. This is like part 2 of that.
I see.
Except it's between the author and her character, right?
Oh, no.
So she gets high key mad. She's just like, I never liked you. You never cooperated. And I was just like, bro,
oh my
that's
God.
me.
No. I hate to say it, Basti. That's Castiel.
Kill me.
No! Okay, listen, like, I hate to keep bringing it up, but the late season of Supernatural, like, the second to the last season, like, God literally tells Castiel, you were the one thing that did not fall in line.
Yeah.
You were the one thing that fucked up all my plans. You know what the other Castiels and all the other universes did? They followed the rules. But yes, she tells him...
You never fucking followed me when I told you to do something, which is true in his characterization in Tusa, and also in his...
That's, like, that kind of character is catnip for me. Sorry, keep going.
Yeah, it's true for his characterization in Tusa and in his personality during the apocalypse, which is whenever Kim Nok-ja died, because he always dies, he, like, disappears for months at a time, usually. One time he disappeared for, like, 3 years. He never fucking listens to Han Seong, because Han Seong is... by default, like, the second in command as his right-hand man, right? So, and this is, this is relevant because I just, it's so sick. It's so sick.
Why?
This is within the epilogues. Currently I'm reading, Roland Barthes' Morning Diary, which was, since Han Seong is, like, a professor, she actually brought this up within the novel as well. For reference, for any of our, like, aesthetic enthusiasts out there, Roland Barthes is the guy who is famous for Death of the Author.
Yes, I do know that. I do remember that, yes.
So since she's the author, I'm actually reading it right now, and there's like a quote from it about how... I have it bookmarked because I'm obsessed. For reference, the Morning Diary is Roland Barthes' random scribblings. It's not like an actual journal. It's his random scribblings after the death of his mother. So, the Morning Diary is basically him trying to process his own grief. In the foreword, Natalie... I don't know how to say her last name. Natalie Leisure? ? They're French. Okay. So, the quote is, the reader is presented not with a book completed by its author, but the hypothesis of a book desired by him. And this is relevant because the epilogue is not something the characters wanted, but Dokja wanted for the characters.
Oh my god.
The reader wants you to go through this. Not because you want it, but because he wants it.
Oh my god.
That's what fanfiction is.
Jesus Christ.
You're not gonna be happy with it, but he is. That's what matters, right?
This is exactly why Redacted, the show on HBO Max with that Zionist showrunner, got cancelled and everyone was happy. Because they gave so much fan service to the fans.
Oh.
And the fans weren't happy. Because the story was gone.
I had to like process which HBO showrunner is a Zionist, because I know two.
Many of them. Yeah, there's one with zombies and one with pirates. You can connect the dots.
Yeah, there's also commentary on fan service on this one too. Actually, I'm remembering this because like the arc after whatever is on the webtoon, there is a character, because this is 3 ways to survive the ruined world. The first way is to regress, which is Yoo Jung-hyuk. The second way is to return, which in the context of ORV is world hopping. Like, it's isekai, basically. You get ejected into another world, and then you return to your original world after the journey. The second character is Jang Ha-young, who, while Tusa was still being written, the author kind of felt like they were staling. It was stagnating. The story was stagnating. And Kim Dok-ja actually suggested to make an entirely new character in the comments. And since he was the only reader at this point, he was the only person that could have been, like, influenced from this decision of making an entirely new character. So he suggested, like, the complete opposite of Yoo Jung-hyuk. That's Jang Ha-young. Yeah. So he meets this character eventually, like around 200 to 300 chapters in, and he feels fucking weird about it.
Oh dear.
He's just like, this person, this beautiful person, came into existence because I asked for her to.
Ooh, oh no.
And he, like, for the entirety of the novel, there is a directive from Kim Dokja to exclude her from everything that happens. Because, she doesn't deserve to go through so much of this suffering. Yeah. Yoo Jung-hyuk is fine, because he wants to see where the ending is going. And honestly, there is no fucking way he can control whatever Yoo Jung-hyuk likes.
My god.
So, he has no choice in whatever Yoo Jung-hyuk does. But Jang Ha-young kind of looks up to him.
Oh.
You know, because he asked for her to exist, so by default she looks up to him. She doesn't know that because he's a character, but it's still very awkward. But yeah, so since you brought up fan service, it made me it made me remember that. Like, imagine someone wishing for you to exist and then they just feel weird about you eventually afterwards. The fan service character cries.
Oh god.
Yeah.
I like how you have to take a big sip of coffee after that.
No, that was water.
It's water.
I've run out of coffee.
Oh, no.
If you wished for a character to exist,
yes,
like within a show, right? So, since you're into supernatural, like, would you, like, as a viewer, would you have wished for them to have that kid? Like, would that kid even appreciate existing? Right?
No, honestly, I would not have, and also that's the plot line of this kid, because they did do everything in their power to get the kid out into the world, but because this kid ended up causing the death of Castiel, Dean was very resentful of this kid. It's like, I wish this kid didn't exist in the first place, even though we tried so hard to save this kid.
Okay.
Yeah. And there's the fucked up thing about Supernatural where the kid looks like Castiel.
Yeah.
And when you factor in...
oh my god, this is...
yes, what?
Sorry, this is reminding me of Biu. Okay, Biu did not used to be... Like, she did not exist within the novel. She just spawned out of existence because of a deal Kim Nok-ja made with the underworld and also...
not deals of the underworld.
Yeah.
Buddy,
so,
me and every fictional character, you guys gotta stop going into the underworld and making these deals.
Hey, he got adopted by her, like, by Hades and Persephone. Okay.
Fair.
You know how I was talking about how this is like a gigantic live stream?
Yes.
They're not streamers, they're incarnations, that's what they're called in the novel, but, like, they're kind of just like the guinea pigs running around the channel, right?
Oh no.
People are watching them do things and throwing money at the streamer. So the streamers, in this, like, gigantic metaphor about storytelling, they're the narrators, basically. They're storytellers. So Bi-hyung is the first dokkaebi streamer you meet. That's the term that they use. Dokkaebis are basically just like aswang in Korean.
I see, okay.
So they don't have any other, like, things to call these guys, so they just call them aswang. It's sort of the same because they're kind of like trickstery because they make scenarios so incarnations can do things and it entertains the constellations, you know, it's a whole thing. And Bi-hyung kind of makes a contract with Dokja in the beginning of the novel where Dokja, like, rakes in the viewers and he gets most of the money from.
Oh my god.
He scammed this guy.
Oh my god.
Like, eventually.
Dokja.
Yeah. Yeah. He's very smart about it.
He's smart, but also he's so fucked up.
I know. But yeah. So the deal with the underworld is that one of the characters that you meet in Tusa becomes a returnee. And she causes the apocalypse, like a version of the apocalypse. Like, if they didn't clear the scenario, they would have all died, probably.
Oh.
So, this happens because, I guess, like, the 41st turn of Yoo Jung-hyuk, like, this, like, the 41st regression turn, he has lived through 42 lives at that point. He sent this little girl back in time, and she did not immediately get ejected into another world line. She wandered around the void for like 1,000 years and she came out a little fucked in the head.
Oh.
And since he is the only reader of this novel, Dokja kind of just like, pleads to her like, hey, I won't kill you.
Yes.
Okay, you have lived through so fucking much. I'm not going to want to kill you. Eventually she does actually die, but he has to chase her soul into the underworld, etc., etc., and she gets reborn. Yeah.
Can I just say, this would make a very good video game. Like, I would like to play this as a video game.
I know, but it's also 500 chapters.
I know.
So it's, eventually, he gets her soul out of the underworld.
Just like Orpheus and Eurydice.
And he gives it to Bihyung, and she gets reborn into a dokebi.
Oh.
She turns from throwaway character into her own storyteller, which is a cute metamorphosis going on.
Oh, that's nice.
Her name means metaphor, by the way.
Oh,
cute,
that's nice.
right?
I like that. That's cute.
And eventually, throughout the story, Biu grows up. At first, she's basically like a baby dokebi. She doesn't know how to speak words. She just goes. But eventually, throughout the story, around the epilogue, she kind of gains the ability to shapeshift, and she morphs into a little girl who's the spitting image of Kim Dokja.
Oh.
And Yoo Jung-hyuk finds her in the void of space where she has been just stagnating for a few years now because they left the regression line and she had to go away and train or something. And now he's on his way to another world line to try and save Dokja again, and he was about to die, and he wakes up and there she is, just a little girl with Kim Dokja's eyes and his smile, and he's just she's just do you not fucking recognize me?
Oh.
He's just wait,
what?
I can't help but think about that, because it's just Kim Dokja is not a good father. I'll say that much. He is not a good father. At most, he will die, and then he will leave these kids to other people who he thinks are much more capable at raising children than he is. It's the mommy issues, but but yeah, Biu looks up to him a lot, and it's just so much to me that in the midst of his mourning and near death experience, Yoo Jung-hyuk finds this little kid who is the spitting image of the guy he is trying to save, and it kills me.
No. Enough of this storyline. No more finding kids that look like the people I want to save. I like how we both have specific mental illness about similar storylines in different media. There's a mental illness of the brain worms.
The funny thing is, I didn't expect ORV to have these storylines at all. Because it went for 500 chapters, it went through twists I did not expect it was going into. You know how reader fics work?
Yes. Yeah.
A lot of reader fics are about what if you meet your favorite character? How would they respond to you? But
Dean Winchester and I would point guns at each other and kill each other on sight. There can only be one.
What if you meet your favorite character, but it's on your own terms, right? Ooh. But what if your favorite character meets you, and they wanted to meet you?
Oh, that's kind of fucked up.
I know. By the end, by the epilogue, Kim Dokja becomes the god of the world.
Oh.
He is the only reader. So the myth and origin story of the Star Stream is that one being became two beings. One became the reader and the other the author. And then the author made characters for the reader to read about. And the reader is there stuck for eternity to just read all of these stories and consume them. And if they stop reading, the world ends.
Oh,
because that's what novels are like, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you close the book, it's done.
Yeah, the world ends. So you read it again and again and again.
Oh my god.
Right? Yeah. So
Holy
there's a whole
shit.
thing there.
No, but I see why. After you explaining all of this, I'm I see why it has given you the worms in your brain. It would give me the worms as well, so I will probably finish this eventually. Yeah. And I'll let you know, you'll be like, Gab, that was 6 months ago. I'm like...
So, you know how I said that both Tusa and ORV starts on Yoo Jung-hyuk's third regression
Yes,
term?
the third regression.
Well, the fourth life. That's a death number in Chinese.
Oh shit!
But,
Yeah, I forgot. My friend told me about that. How could I forget? Yeah.
But when Kim Dok-hya becomes the god of this fucking universe, he stumbles upon Yoo Jung-hyuk's first, his like 0th turn. That's what they call it. So in this version of events, Yoo Jung-hyuk is just like a pro gamer. He's just on his train ride home, and he's trying to contact a detective agency to look for his parents because they just dropped his 11-year-old sister on his doorstep.
Oh shit!
And he's like, while he's on the train, he's just like wondering, like, why have I never thought about contacting my parents before she came to my life? When did I start existing? That kind of stuff. He's getting existential.
He's getting an existential crisis.
Yeah, because as a character, like, you exist in snippets of your life. Right?
Don't make me think about it. It's fine. Go.
You don't remember how your life started, and you only really remember childhood stuff when it gets brought up in the narrative.
That's true.
Yeah, that's what happened to Yoo Jung-hyuk. He just does not remember who his parents were and whether they were present in his life. He's on his train ride home, and then the apocalypse starts. And
oh my god.
Kim Dok-hya is reading this for the first time. He's just like, this has never happened in Tusa.
Oh dear.
In the midst of this happening, Yoo Jung-hyuk is just frozen, standing there. He's just like, that has never fucking happened before. And then everyone died anyway because they couldn't kill any other living being. So it's a little like a trolley problem. Like, scenarios are just like trolley problems over and over again. Eventually, when when Kim Dok-hya realizes that this is the first, this is like Yoo Jung-hyuk baby. He is the baby form of the final guy.
Baby form of the blorbo.
But yeah, this is the first, like, regression turn, sort of. He can manipulate stuff in the world because he's God, right? Dok-hya, like, reads through, well, sort of. It moves more like a choose your own adventure thing.
Oh, I thought choose your own adventure.
Because he's manipulating stuff in the story. And he figured, you know what, why the hell not? I'm God anyway. And he lets Yoo Jung-hyuk experience the apocalypse without, like, a single hitch. He's just, like, breezing through it. By the end of it, if you've survived through the apocalypse and someone has just been, like, carrying you throughout it, wouldn't you be like, well, what now? Because the epilogue is done, and, like, all of the constellations, the stars in the sky have disappeared. It's done. It's over. The apocalypse is over. And he's just like, are you going to disappear on me too? Like, you're the only guy who's been with me since the start. And he's like on his last leg at this point, and he's just like, can you, like, grant me one wish? Because it seems like you're not really bound to this world's rules anyway. And he's just like, I mean, if it's within my ability, sure, whatever. He's like, can I meet you? So what if your favorite character wants to meet you? He's just like, you can meet me, but you're going to have to go through some really tough shit. And this is the 0th turn, remember? He goes through 1,864 turns before he gets to meet
I'm gonna kill Dok-hya. I'm gonna kill him. No!
Yeah. He didn't do it on purpose because this is something Yoo Jung-hyuk wanted.
These people are messed up, man.
Yeah, he tries to tell him off of it too. He's just like, if you do this, like, you'll forget all of your friends. You will not be happy by the time you get to me.
Oh my god.
But the joke is, ORV's regression turn, which is like the 1864th, even though they tell you it's the 3rd turn of Yoo Jung-hyuk, that world line is probably the happiest Yoo Jung-hyuk will ever be.
Oh my god.
And it's to the point that, like, this is why, like, early on in the novels, he managed to sway Yoo Jung-hyuk off of it. Like, hey, you know I've changed a lot of what goes on in the turns, right? So, if you regress right now, would you ever meet me again? This is how he sways Yu Jung-hyuk out of his regression depression, right? So in this 0th turn, he's just like, listen, if you go through these, you're not gonna be fucking happy. And then Yu Jung-hyuk just asks him, well, if I regress, would I ever meet you again? And it just I'm gonna fucking kill him. I'm gonna fucking kill him. What do you call it? It's kind of relevant to what happened to our last rewatch of Madoka the other day. The storyline for Madoka Rebellions, and this is sort of spoilery for that, is that Homura kind of dragged God down from the heavens, where she created a reality where God doesn't fucking exist.
Oh my god.
God gets to live out a life as a human, just like she
What if God was one of us?
And I was just like, this is kind of why I can't compare Homura Akemi to Yu Jung-hyuk entirely, because I know, like, of the 3 of them, Yu Jung-hyuk probably has the best moral compass, even though he kills people.
God.
As someone who goes through time loops, you have to have like an infinite amount of hope that things will turn out the next turn, the next turn, the next turn, right? So he's too optimistic and honestly a little too nice.
No.
Like there's a line in the novel that I could not help pointing out, because I just the amount of fics I've read where people kind of think that of the 2 of them, Dokja is like the nicer person. I'm just
no,
like, no.
he's like a little demon. Like I
know.
understand why. However,
Demon King of Salvation is literal.
Sir.
Yeah, but yeah, there's the line in the novel where he calls Yu Jung-hyuk like the optimist to his realist, right?
Oh.
Whereas I think Han Seung would probably be the pessimist of 3.
Oh dear.
Right? So she knows that things will turn out negatively, because that's what the constellations want. They want people to suffer because that's entertaining for them. Dokja wants to be realistic. He's like on the side of being like optimistic, but also like, you know, we have to face reality. People are gonna be very not nice to us.
No.
And then there's Yu Jung-hyuk, who wants to believe that people can do good things.
He's just like me for real.
Yeah. He would want to believe people will do good things. This is why he like experiences a lot of heartbreaks throughout the regression turns. The story of ORV isn't to consider the morality of reading characters into like terrible situations. This isn't about that. Like ORV is about do what you can to survive. Like you can find entertainment in the most terrible things, fine, just as long as it keeps you alive. The selfishness of self-sacrifice involved in creation and consumption, that kind of thing.
Jesus Christ. I see why you've got the worms. Yeah. The worms are worming. I see. This is also just like, after you've gone through this whole thing, like, this is like peak SJ enjoyment. It's the same way that like the Knives Out movies are peak Gab. This I'm like, yes, this is everything SJ enjoys in a story.
It's actually so funny, because I never realized the way I behaved until after I read this novel. Like the thing with the ORV is that you can't read it and not analyze the way
definitely,
like the way you consume stories.
Sorry, I knocked my microphone over.
I was like wondering, like I always say this like as a joke throughout like a few of my video essays. I was just like, you know, I'm a writer first before I read. But now I'm just like questioning that, like, am I? The thing with Dokja toward like throughout all of the scenarios is that he likes to find the easiest way out. He's and this is like the unexplored potential for his character. He used to be quality assurance for a video game company, right? If you don't know what quality assurance is in computer science terms, basically they find ways to break your program, and they have to report it to the developers or whoever does the coding for it. So they have to break your program and then tell you that this is how it broke, and this is, you should probably fucking fix that. So, in the best ways, he's a good editor, but also, he's a terrible fanfiction writer. I'll say that one. So, a lot of the scenarios, he breaks them, but he wins, you know? Like, by the end of it, he's done. The scenario is over.
Jesus
it also
Christ.
is a terrible fucking story. The reason why they didn't go the most convenient way is because it's a terrible fucking story. You have to you have to learn that. So now I'm just questioning my own role as a reader and a writer. Is that what comes first? Am I a reader first or am I a writer
first?
Like, do I want to think about what is in a good story, which would imply having to go through the painstaking, hard way through? Or am I a reader in which I want to go through the most convenient route? It's new. Mm-hmm. It's kind of probably it's probably terrible, but also, you know, it makes logical sense. And it reminded me a lot of like how I got so fucking frustrated while we were adapting Rivers.
Oh my god.
Because I was reading through the scripts and I was just like, why didn't they just fucking do this? And also, you forgot this, and this, which are also probably just like, as a writer, you will tend to forget things. That is true. But also, like, as a fan, I'm just like, bro, you like, established the story. Why would you fucking forget it?
You're like, but your holes, hello? Plot holes.
Can we cover up the holes first?
Just like the Philippine government.
The thing with ORP is that I don't think I would like to recommend it to people. Not because I like
such an interesting statement after 1 hour and 38 minutes of you talking about ORV.
It's because it's not gatekeeping per se. It's just that it's an experience you can't turn away from.
Yeah,
I feel like.
And then most people don't have the time. I know that I'll like this, and I have, like, in the span of us talking, I've scrolled through about 4 chapters. And my concern is, much like Animal Crossing...
It's addicting.
It's addicting, and I'll keep wanting to read it. Like,
right.
I already am very bad with, like, 50-chapter books, and that I will sit down, and then I won't get up for, like, the rest of the day. So
see,
this
is actually why I read before bed, because by then I'll just be like...
If I read before bed, I have AO3 brain. I read before bed. I'll look outside. It'll be 5 in the morning. It
locks me every 30 minutes.
Oh, I see.
It's just like, how long have I looked at this? That's literally it. You can make custom messages, and then I just ask myself how long have you looked at this, and I limit it to like 30 minutes. So, and then to 10 unlocks. So it locks me out 10 times within the span of 30 minutes, but like I stop by unlock 2. Because I'm just like, what time is it? 3 a.m. Cleo has to be up by like 10.
Oh no.
So I had to go to bed. I can't recommend this book to people who are casual about media. Because like ORV by the end of it is about being a fan.
In a way, yeah, I was about to say, in a way, it also, your relationship with ORV, and then the reason why you don't recommend ORV, is an interesting commentary on the story itself and the content of the story. You have to be a little bit diehard about something to understand the appeal of the story itself. As like a like a normal person who enjoys things. If you're a normie, you can't get into this. No, but like, listen. There's a thing that I found out fairly recently, that there are just like people who just watch things and they can let them go. Like, this is the first time a novel's ever made me cry, because I'm never a crier. I've said this about. I've said this about everything. Even though I read and like watch and play through a lot of tragic media. You're not a crier. No. I also don't get entirely too attached to characters wherein bad things happening to them don't make me cry. Bad things happening to them, sometimes I go, well, consequences of your action, right? Because tragic media is
almost always the consequences of people's actions.
You fucked around, you found out.
Yeah, exactly. Especially in time loops. You fuck around, you find out, right?
Yes.
Bad things happening to characters without their consent, without their control. I'm just like, well, you didn't want this for yourself, but that's how life works. You know? In this sense, I'm very Hanseyoung, where I just like, I'm not gonna cry over spilled milk, that kind of thing. For some reason, ORV made me cry.
No, but that's how you know, like, that the story, like, sometimes you don't expect to cry, like, completely unrelated. I went into Wonka going, oh, this is probably gonna be fine, because I love Paddington, and I like Paul King as a director, and it's like, oh, it's probably gonna be, like, halfway decent, and then towards the end, there's, like, a thing where they reunite one of the characters with her mother, and she's like throughout the movie she thinks she's an orphan, and she doesn't know who her mom is. She has like all these dreams about who her parents are, and then they sing a song, and I was in the theater going, why am I crying over fucking Wonka? This is so fucked up.
The first time I cried over this novel, I was 487 chapters in. I can see it because I have a note on it.
Did you know? Yes, you did. Of course you did.
It was not the part. That was a lot earlier into the novel where they talk about how everyone in this company has a share of Kim Dok-jae's life. And I was just like, shut the fuck up, shut the fuck up. But I didn't cry. I was just like, you're sick. Oh, you're disgusting.
Sick and twisted.
The first time I fucking cried over this novel, it was in Han-Soo-young's perspective. Mm-hmm. And they were talking about the first time she went on a stalking spree on Naver. This is why I get very, very upset when I don't really interact with the fans. Like, and this is a very like vice versa thing. If the fans don't interact with me either. Most of the likes and retweets on my fan art for ORV are my friends. So. None of the ORV fans like me, and I don't like them either. But the thing that upsets me with the fans a lot for this is the prioritization of Jungdok, which is the ship name for Dokja and Junghyuk. Yeah.
I think it's okay. Like
it's fair.
It's fair. I see why. Yeah. But also, I think it's kind of like there's something tasty about it not being necessarily a definable relationship.
Right. Of this dynamic, you can't really talk about Jungdok without talking about Han-Soo-young. So
that's true.
You have to have her in the mix. It's Yoo-han Kim. Never just Jungdok. Because, like, it's if you're talking about your favorite character and like if you're talking about the reader fic, right? The reader fic dynamic of this story, you can't just talk about that without talking about the girl who created the goddamn character. And I made like a rambling video about this at like 2 a.m. But since in their like weird creation myth origin story, she creates things for the reader. She can't kill him in any way that matters.
Yeah.
not in the funny mushroom kind of thing, but like more in the it's a symbiotic relationship kind of thing.
I see.
She wants to, like, the author wants to please the reader, and the reader wants to read what the creator has made. But the love is never like reciprocated most of the time. Like, all of the love goes into the characters.
No.
Never for the way the author writes. Unless you're, like, one of those readers, which Dokja is, one of those readers who actually talks to the creator. He's just like, that was so good, author Nim.
It's leaving the comments.
He's so cringy about all of his comments.
No.
He actually info dumps in a lot.
Oh my god.
It's so terrible, but I love him for it. He's gotten into, like, arguments online just to defend this fucking
Just like everyone
one.
on the internet right now. I think that's such... You know, I did say he's kind of like a little shit demon in the best way possible.
Yeah.
But, like, there's something very funny about the fact that he's gotten into arguments online. That he kind of wants his blorbos to suffer. I'm like, yeah, who among us in fucked up little fandoms hasn't wanted our blorbos to suffer for the sake of the plot sometimes?
Yeah. It's for their own good. It's I remember thinking about this like every single time. By the end of the novel, I guess like technically by the start of the novel, right? Because when the apocalypse starts, Kim Nok-ja has a very like clear view of his goals of where he wants to bring this story. That's why everyone is kind of just like by the end of the novel they've relied so much on him that they can't live without him. But he doesn't he doesn't think of the epilogue like the excerpt that I literally just read. There is no him in that story. So all of the characters have relied on him thus far, and he doesn't he doesn't process it that way.
Oh dear.
He was just like, oh, I was just bringing you guys here.
Dear.
I'm just dropping you off at school.
Oh my
god. When he starts the novel, he's the kind of fan who is just like, I just want them to be happy, right? But
yes.
Because he's 28, he's just been fired. He wants that wish fulfillment of them to be happy because he's going through a really tough time.
Yeah.
Han Soo-young, on the other hand, is the kind of author who is just like, all of the characters for me is, I want them to go to college.
Oh.
Not a single person wants to go to college.
Yeah, fair.
No one wants to go to college, okay? You have to go to college. So even if they fucking hate me for it, they have to.
I will drag them.
Any comments or questions? I can definitely answer.
I feel like you have covered everything that there is that you can like reasonably cover in an episode about ORV.
I didn't even get to like tell you how I picked this up. I just got into like, it makes me crazy. This is why.
No. It's okay because that's what happened with the Matrix episode. That was me with the Matrix episode. So that's what this podcast is. Generally, it's both of us going, this thing makes me crazy. It makes absolutely bananas bonkers, and I need to tell you and other people about it
This is
on
why.
a forum.
Do not fucking read ORV.
When this person read ORV, and this is what happened.
It's so bad, too. Okay, so I'll get into why or how I got into it, right?
Yes.
So I read the webtoon out of complete... Just, like, this is my casual interest in webtoons at the time, because it was, like, the peak of pandemic, and I had nothing else to fucking do.
Yes.
So I opened webtoons, and I was like, Omniscient reader, hey, I've seen a few people on my dashboard talk about this, very specifically
Tumblr
God. User OT3, but I was just like curious, so I opened it, and it was just like, oh, okay. Then I got to like around like 100 episodes technically, and just around that part, and then I stopped because it was ongoing, and I do not like
reading ongoing.
I don't like consuming things that are still in progress. I have very little patience for this. So I put it down, and 2 years later I picked the novel up because it was finished. I started reading through from the start while I was reading Jeanette McCurdy's memoir. So the memoir about mommy issues.
Oh my
and
god.
being in the limelight and people knowing you as a character instead of a person, and then reading Okay, I finished Jeanette McCurdy's memoir a lot faster because it's not 500 fucking chapters.
It's a good memoir though.
It is. Yeah, people should read that for sure.
That's
100%.
what you should read instead of ORV.
Yeah, don't read ORV. Read Jeanette McCurdy's
book. I'm glad my mom died. Yes,
it was so good.
It's very well written. I'm happy that she's getting all the praise and love for it.
People are. I've seen a lot of people like criticize this. I'm like, I don't understand people who criticize memoirs.
I'm like,
I'll say that.
How
much.
Can you criticize a book
someone telling you about their life?
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, were you there? No, shut the fuck up.
I mean, unless it's for like historical figures.
Yeah, but like,
or I don't know, people like Juan Ponce Enrile or something.
Yeah.
If it's like politicians, feel free. You know?
The fuck free. They're political and public figures. Go.
Imelda Marcos. Does she have a memoir? I feel like she would. But yeah, that's all of it. That's all.
Genuinely, Esther, I think in a couple of months you'll get a message from me going, I think I'm done with ORV.
Oh my god. You should live.
I will probably live message you
I
about
know.
thoughts as I read this. Just going, the fuck.
As someone who has short-term memory about a lot of things, for some reason stories is never the same.
Oh no, same. Listen, I have the worst fucking memory, but I can recite speeches from Doctor Who line per line. I know the first prophecy from the Lightning Thief line per line.
Oh my goodness.
But anything like birthdays and names of my classmates, like,
Oh gosh.
sorry, I hate to ask, what was your name again?
This is very peak, like, people who are not normal about stories. we are ORV's target audience.
We really are. You really truly are. Speaking of stories, I actually don't even know what we're gonna record yet for the next episode because I am indecisive and love a lot of things and a lot
We're
of stories.
recording tomorrow, aren't
I
we?
know. I'm deciding overnight because this episode is our January episode. It's the first episode of 2024. So the next one,
Yes.
rightfully so, is February, which is my
Yes.
birthday.
Which is it's also Kim Dokjan's. It's February 2nd, baby.
Oh my god.
Wait a second. 15th. Yeah, it's the day after Valentine's. I remember that.
Oh my
February
god.
15th, baby. He's 10 days before you.
Yeah, he's 10 days older than me. This is the funniest fucking response. But
It's
yeah.
Kim Dokjan's birthday.
me going, it's Tian's birthday on January 24th. He's an Aquarius.
You know, fun fact. People have counted this, and it drives me insane that people
Whoa,
even
like
know
what?
about this. Lee Jung-hyuk's birthday is August 3rd.
Yes.
And it is the 215th day of the year.
Oh.
It's February 15th. Yeah.
Alright.
I know what you are,
I
Hansi.
know what you are.
Crazy.
She said, I will bond you
Oh my
through
God.
space
They
and time.
are
We will be
Life and
bonded.
death
We will
life
be
and death
bonded
companions.
through space and time.
So true, though.
But yes, I will take a moment and decide on what I want to talk about because I might slightly, for some reason, I've been listening to Wolf 359 again recently.
Oh, hell yeah.
Like to go to sleep. But like
to go to sleep.
no, not in the sense that it's boring, but it's because I've listened to it a bunch of times.
Oh
So
my
the
gosh.
sounds of Eiffel crashing into things is comforting.
Oh my god.
Much
To the surprise of no one, my favorite episode is the time loop.
I listened to that the other day. I love the episode. If that's your favorite, mine is the one where they're stuck during a solar flare, and there's one Jacoby inside, and there's another Jacoby.
Oh
That's
my God.
favorite. That is that one and Dirty Work with the Russian roulette.
Terrifying, actually. That Jacoby episode fucking scared me.
I-
Probably more than TMA has ever had.
We have many options. You'll find out. When you see the description. I was like, when you start listening to the episode, no, the title
The description.
and the description will give it away.
The title will not give it away.
No.
I do not like giving away.
Regression
the
Depression. Regression Depression.
Okay, I'm cutting that out. Say goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
What you just heard was a talk from the Secret Treehouse. Those were your hosts, SJ and Gab, and this was a production by The Playground. If you like that, please consider supporting us through the links found in the show notes. If you support us for as low as $6 on Ko-fi, you can get the whole uncut version of this episode. And if you want your name at the end of the episode, like at this moment here, you can support us for $10. Thank you so much for listening, and we hope we can get to hang out again.